So there's a theory that I've been thinking about for a little while now, and this theory is not something that is necessarily going to change our whole perspective on zombies. This isn't really going to throw off everything that we've come to know, but it's just something really interesting, and it's a connection that I've been trying to make, and I think I definitely have all the evidence I want to present to you guys, so I can bounce this idea off you and tell me what you think about it. So the theory that I'd like to present to you guys today is potentially Sophia being the mother of Samantha Maxis. Now, this probably sounds a little bit ridiculous, but I'm going to explain why I think this could be the case. In Reese on World@War, this is when we were first introduced to the really in-detail versions of Dr. Maxis, a little bit of Sophia, and Samantha. This was primarily the focus of Maxis and Samantha because Sophia was mentioned only a couple times in radios, and Dr. Maxis and Samantha obviously play a huger part in the zombie storyline overall. Pretty much we all know by now about Samantha and Maxis, right? We don't really need to go into an in-detail explanation about that. We just know that Maxis is indeed the father of Samantha, but we've never really sat down and questioned who could be the mother of Samantha. Like, it's just something that we kind of assumed and just, I guess, went along with, and we were just completely okay with it, not knowing exactly who the mother was. We just know that Maxis was the father, and we just left it at that. So now I'd like to share with you guys why I think that Sophia could actually be the mother of Maxis. Now, we're going to go into Sophia's story a little bit now. I definitely have touched on this story before. We know a lot about Sophia already from Revelations and that sort of stuff, and definitely in Garrod Kirby, but we know that she was introduced in World@War and wasn't really mentioned too much else. Like, she was a very, kind of low-key character in the zombie storyline up until Garrod Kirby, when she pretty much became a main piece in that. But Sophia was not always how she was in Garrod Kirby. In that map, we see her as a robot, but she was not always like that. Back in the days of World@War, when she was Maxis' assistant and or lover, she was basically in a human form. And this is probably the closest picture or most accurate representation of Sophia that we do have, in her non-robot form. Now, we do see her again in Revelations during the Easter egg, but this is like a dead body form, and they actually just reused another Shadows of Evil kind of female character model, probably because they didn't want to develop a whole, unique model just for an Easter egg step that you're literally going to see it for like maybe 2 or 3 seconds. So that's kind of my reasoning for that, but you definitely do see her at least once in the Easter egg. But back on Drac here, what we know is that Sophia and Maxis were working together in 935, and she was pretty much his secretary. You could call her position that, and then eventually they kind of started having a thing for each other, and that Sophia was distracting Maxis from his work, and he could definitely tell that. We can hear him say that to himself or in a radio, and we definitely hear Rick Toffin know that as well. Rick Toffin can tell that they have some sort of thing going on, and he's worried that Maxis is going to get too distracted and not, go through with the Wonder Waff project. But while they had this relationship, this could have definitely been more than just a sort of flirtatious thing. They could have actually gone too far with it as to have had a child, which is probably the case. Now, there's definitely some evidence for this, like what we're doing now, kind of supporting this, but there's also something that I'm going to say that I have one big problem with this, and this is kind of the fact that Sophia doesn't really seem interested in Samantha Maxis, right? You know how really Maxis is only really concerned about his daughter, about saving Samantha, that sort of stuff, and rescuing her, while Sophia is really only concerned about Maxis, right? You never really hear Sophia talk about Samantha. She's only really kind of got her mind set on Maxis, especially in Garrod Kirby, when as soon as you turn her on, she asks the characters if they know Maxis, if they're affiliated or whatever, you know what I mean? I don't know, it just seems kind of weird to me how kind of distant Sophia is from Samantha Maxis, if that is indeed her daughter. It just doesn't really add up, because if that was indeed her daughter, that should probably be the most concerned thing that, she's worried about right now. But another thing is kind of supporting this is that the timing makes sense, right? The timing makes sense, kind of while they're working in 935, maybe they had this child sort of like kind of on the DL, it's low key. Nobody really knew about it. Samantha's maybe 4 to 5, 6 years old or whatever. This began the test at 935 of Fluffy, all that sort of stuff when we first were introduced to the radio. So the timing actually does line up if you think about it, and it's probably evident that Sophia actually got infected by the test a little bit later on. That's when she failed to tell Maxis in time to where he could save her, whatever, if that was even possible. But then Maxis killed her and then turned her into the Sophia that we know right now in Garrod Kirby, which is the robot. So I guess the timing makes sense, and it's just something to think about, because the thing is, we never really knew Samantha's mother. We just know Max is the father, that kind of thing. But if Sophia would indeed be her mother, it's not like it really fundamentally shifts the zombie storyline, but it's just something really interesting to think about. I think it is definitely a possibility. So that is pretty much all I got for you guys today. I just want to kind of bounce off you guys and see what you think about it. So let me know if you think that Sophia is Samantha Maxis' mother, and if you do, tell me why you think that is. Let me know what your reasonings are for it. So anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for today. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, guys. Really does help out a ton. We're gonna be going for 115 likes on the video, and that is gonna wrap it for today. Make sure you do subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I will catch you guys on the next video.